The character Awesamdude on the Dream SMP is one of the most complex characters on the entire server. Joining in the first few days of the server's existence, Awesamdude, or Sam, has helped to shape the server into what it is today, helping on builds such as the community house in the beginning and the prison, one of, if not the most complex redstone builds on the entire SMP. But his character has evolved far past the title of basic builder. In fact, the character we know as Sam has now turned into 3 distinct characters: Awesamdude, Warden Sam, and Sam Nook, each with their own separate look and personality, though they are played by the same person. But what if they are the same person? Moreover, what if the Sam we know has extended his life indefinitely by occupying each character whenever he chooses? This is my theory on how the character Awesamdude has figured out the secret to immortality on the Dream SMP. Before we get into the video, please don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos just like this. I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so it would really mean a lot. Okay, now back to the video. The source material. For this theory, I'm going to be referencing a short story called Unready to Wear by Vonnegut. I'm going to provide a short summary of it so you don't have to read it to understand what's going on, but if you do want to read it, I highly recommend it. It's not super long and you can easily find a PDF of it on Google. The story follows a man who managed to separate his consciousness from his body, a process called going amphibious in order to inhabit the world as himself instead of being trapped in a body. He did so because his wife was on death's door and they wanted to stay together, which they managed to do. The short story takes place when he and his wife re-inhabit 2 bodies and are then captured by people who are afraid of going amphibious. These people think that they have turned their backs on humanity, when, in reality, the main character states that this is just humanity's next stage of evolution. In fact, going amphibious allows the psyche to live on after the body is gone, and allows someone to inhabit other bodies if they so choose or need to. The many versions of Sam. When looking at the recent lore for Sam's character, we see 3 separate characters played by the content creator. We have Sam Nook, the robot who serves as Tommy's builder and protector, Awesamdude, the Sam which has been on the server since the beginning, and Warden Sam, who used to be considered the same person as Awesamdude, but as lore progressed has been referred to by that name and seemingly as a separate entity on the server. Though they are still considered the same person, his drastic change in character when working as the Warden has caused a definite split between the 2. But Sam Nook also seems to have a connection with the other 2 variations of Sam. In a Tommy in its Dream post-prison break, he ran into Sam on the Prime Path, and after some tense conversation, Sam mentioned that Tommy could trust him, to which Tommy did not necessarily respond in kind. Yet, not a few minutes after the 2 parted ways, Tommy ran into Sam Nook, with whom he immediately started to open up to. It's almost as if Sam knew that Tommy wouldn't trust him, but would trust Sam Nook instead. Which leads me to, the character Sam can inhabit the bodies of all of the variations of Sam on the SMP. On one of the first lore streams for the character Boomer on the SMP, he ventured to a room and met up with a version of Sam, asking if this was his real body. In a later stream, he mentioned something about Sam using his multiple bodies to get some work done faster. In both cases, Sam promptly moved on from the topic, saying no one else knows yet. These 2 instances give canonical proof that Sam does have more than one body on the SMP. This is where the connection to the Vonnegut story comes in. If Sam is able to have multiple bodies on the SMP, there has to be a way for him to switch between them, which means his psyche has to have split from his original or real body in order to inhabit the other variations. When we look closer at the Vonnegut story, we find that a psyche doesn't experience very passionate emotions until they inhabit a body. That's when the bodily functions take over, like hunger, sleep, and feelings in general. This allows a body to continue to act like themselves whilst being inhabited by a different psyche. In Sam's case, it would make sense then that Warden Sam became almost a completely different personality from that of Awesamdude, as he could have just been a separate body, and why Sam Nook is so different from the other two entirely. The Sam psyche is most likely the original Awesamdude from the early days of the SMP, who, along the way, managed to split from his original body in order to inhabit others. This also means he has the knowledge gained by the other two characters, and potentially more, since we don't actually know how many bodies Sam has on the SMP. And lastly, Sam is the only immortal character on the SMP. In the Kurt Vonnegut story, one of the main reasons people chose to go amphibious was to outlive death itself. In fact, this was the exact reason the main character and his wife chose to in the first place. Because of this, the psyche is essentially immortal unless they die whilst inhabiting a body. In Sam's case, since he's figured out a way to separate himself from his body, he can theoretically never die as long as he's not within the body when it dies. For example, in a Rambu stream from a while back, Rambu ran into Sam, who was frozen in place on the Prime Path. Now, in real life, this was because the creator's internet and computer were breaking, but if we translate this into the story, Rambu said it was him being paralyzationized. This state could have been when the psyche had left Sam's body and forgot to bring it home first. Therefore, if Sam's body had died during that exchange of being paralyzationized, Sam's psyche would still exist, but if he had been in the body, then Sam himself would also die. Therefore, all Sam has to do in order to stay alive is leave the body before it goes, and he can essentially never die. Now, this does get a bit funky if you consider being revived as a sort of immortality, but I would argue the fact that SMP members can only be immortal by revival through the means of someone else. After Dream broke out of prison, he met up with Tommy in the exile area, to which he proclaimed that he would repeatedly kill and revive him over and over as a form of torture. Technically, this does make Tommy immortal, as if he dies, Dream could simply bring him back. The difference here is that immortality relies on Dream choosing to bring Tommy back. If not, he's stuck there in limbo forever. What's more is that Dream is currently the only person with the knowledge of revival, and would most likely not be able to revive himself if he died. Therefore, if Dream dies, any chance of immortality is gone, except for Sam. Sam can live on past everyone if he chooses to remain outside of a body. This also means he can learn information from anyone he wishes to on the server, depending on which body he's in, and use it to his advantage. Speaking of which, the future of Sam's character. As we have seen, the content creator Sam has the ability to play a wide range of characters, from a dark, stern warden to a sweet, loyal robot. This means there is a good chance we will see him as both a hero and a villain. What we don't know is which we will see next. He may be able to work his body switching into the upcoming lore dealing with the aftermath of Dream's prison break, swapping bodies to talk with members who wouldn't normally open up to him. He may even use it to repair past relationships which have since soured, like his one with Punk. What will be interesting is to see how his other characters react if this knowledge comes out. Will someone like Dream feel threatened that someone has found immortality before him, potentially seeking him out in order to make sure he can't stay immortal? Or will people embrace Sam's immortality, potentially trying to achieve it themselves and effectively killing the meaning of canonical deaths on the server? Who knows? For now, we can only speculate what the content creator does with his story, but what is for sure is that when it comes to Sam, not everything is what it seems. If you enjoyed this video, then please hit the like button and subscribe for more videos just like this. Let me know in the comments below if you think Awesamdude or any other character on the SMP has cracked the code to immortality. Also, be sure to check out my other Dream SMP theory videos on the screen. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!